Every woman in construction has faced that moment, standing in a room full of men, the air just a little too still, everyone waiting to see if you'll speak. You've earned your seat at the table, but you feel the test in the silence. Let's talk about what happens next. The part no one teaches you. How to communicate with confidence, clarity, and credibility without losing your authenticity. Today's lesson is going to be helping you identify what you may not be seeing and defining it with clarity so that you're not assuming what is happening around you. We may think we know what everyone in the room is thinking. And it's true, they might be thinking what you've assigned to them, but that doesn't mean that it has to be true. Let's face it, that grimace on their face could be that coffee starting to work right when the meeting is starting. And outside the window, just past you, is a blue room calling their name. We're going to start with decoding communication dynamics in male majority industries. You're going to be able to identify the structural differences in tone, pace, and emotional expression commonly present in construction environments and explain how these dynamics influence workplace interactions. Then we're going to learn about behavioral awareness and how to improve workplace communication. We're going to learn how to develop the ability to read personality patterns, interpret body language, and distinguish whether communication is being driven by power, pressure, productivity, or personality, allowing you to respond strategically rather than emotionally. Then we're going to strengthen cross-gender and peer communication skills. We're going to demonstrate an understanding of how women often communicate differently with other women versus men on job site and office settings, and apply techniques to create clarity, respect, and alignment across both dynamics. We're going to build authentic communication confidence through emotional regulation. By learning how to regulate emotional responses, maintain composure in high-pressure conversations, and communicate assertively without compromising authenticity, which is going to help us strengthen our professional presence, career confidence, and long-term financial opportunity. Construction is one of the most honest industries in the world. It's raw, it's direct, and it's fast. There's no time for polite fluff when the concrete is setting or a crane is waiting on your call. But that same honesty can also create friction. The same bluntness that keeps a project moving can make people sound aggressive, dismissive, or defensive. And for women, that friction can be a double-edged sword. When you're decisive, you're labeled hard to work with. When you're calm, they say you're too soft. When you lead someone, will test whether you really mean it or not. And you know what? They're watching, not to hear your words, but to see if you're holding your ground. It's communication dynamics. The only problem is that women and men communicate differently. While most women tend to express with words, most men express with action. There's only two ways to fix this. Either change the way you communicate or educate others on your communication style constantly. There is no wrong or right way, but there is a shared way if we recognize our differences and we work together. Early in my career, I did learn this the hard way. I was running a coordination meeting and a senior foreman decided to make a comment that crossed the line. It wasn't just inappropriate, it was designed to test me. The room went dead quiet. Every man looked at me, not to really defend me, but to see what I would do. I had two options. I could react emotionally and lose control of the room, which I had done before, or I could redirect and teach them how to treat me from that day forward. So I did learn from the previous lesson, and I practiced a short memorized statement. And with a calm, professional, steady voice, I was able to say, let's focus on the scope. We can talk about anything else after the job's done. There was no yelling, there was no shaming, no apology. I was able to remove emotion and focus on the common goal of project completion. Just clarify and control. That's confidence in construction. That's confidence in yourself, knowing how to handle those types of situations. When conversations get tense, whether it's conflict, disrespect, or power testing, your goal isn't to win, it's to lead the tone. And here's what's worked for me. Slow down the energy. When tension rises, lower your pace. The room will mirror you. Redirect, don't react. Move the conversation back to purpose. Let's stay focused on the plan. Name the behavior and not the emotion. Calmly stating, that comment's not appropriate, is a stronger than a defensive comeback. That's how you keep authority, by mastering your energy, not by matching theirs. Now, let's be honest. Not every challenge comes from men. Some of the biggest conflicts I've had has been with other women. It feels like high school all over again, and it's kept me from wanting to engage deeply with other women and has constructed a wall of concrete that most of the time is not coming down. Sometimes I think it would take a psychologist to break it down, and I don't have enough time in this short lesson to go into all of the root causes that make most women insecure, jealous, and vindictive. But I do know one thing. You're not the cause of their reaction. There's something else that has shaped their view and perception long before you entered the picture. So again, you have two choices. You can get pulled in by it, or you can create a space where you know you and can control your own character, your own reputation, and your own legacy. It starts with understanding. Understanding who you want to be, who you are, and where you want to be going. Women in the field and women in the office often speak two different languages. On the job site, communication is short, it's task-driven, and often non-verbal. A nod or a got it carries much respect as a full conversation. In the office, it's polished, documented, and layered with diplomacy. The field thinks the office overcomplicates things. The office thinks the field is too blunt. And the truth? Both are right, but both are necessary. The power comes when we learn to translate between those worlds. When the field women can explain results with clarity, she earns a promotion. When the office women can simplify requests, she earns trust. Neither version is better. They just need to understand each other's construction language. Now, I'm about to say something that might sound a little unexpected, but stick with me for a little bit. Years ago, I read The 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman. I loved the book. I think everyone should read it. It's one of the most transformative books that I've ever read, but because I've applied it to both my personal life and professional life. He talked about how people express and receive love differently through words, acts of kindness, time, gifts, and touch. And I realized in construction, we have our own version of love languages. Now, I recognize even saying the word love on a sexually tensioned job site can feel uncomfortable. But that is why we need to talk about it. Love has many definitions. And as children, we ran and played and loved little boys as our friends. After teenage years, love was redefined for all of us, causing a line of friction that is fed by hormones and sexual triggers that have gone unchecked. Because it is all brewing under the surface. Working in an industry full of men, we must redefine love and educate what it means to those around us so that our expectations and boundaries are very clear. Our construction love language is not romantic, it's relational. The words we use in our language are the ways people give and receive respect on a job site. I call them the 5 construction love languages. We start with words of recognition. Some people need acknowledgement. Good job on that submittal, or you nailed that detail. And words matter. Acts of reliability. For others, respect means showing up on time and doing what you said you would do. Reliability is love in construction form. Quality communication. Some people need transparency, regular updates, clear direction, and honest feedback. Then we have service under pressure. There's a little bit of pressure in the construction industry. Others value teamwork under stress. When you jump in during a crunch, they feel seen. Then we have shared wins. Many feel appreciated when everyone celebrates success together. We hit the milestone, not I did my part. Once you recognize which language motivates each team, you can lead them better without over-explaining or over-correcting anyone. It's not manipulation, it's awareness. And awareness builds influence. Now, it's not only words that influence how we're received on a construction site. For years, women were told to watch their tone. We've been told to sound less emotional, more direct, more like men around us. And when we do, we're immediately labeled as aggressive, assertive, or just a downright bitch. I used to own it, thinking I had accomplished what men taught me. Get in my face and I'm going to give it back. And I learned how exhausting, draining, and unfun it was to just not be me. Here's the truth. You don't need to change your tone. You need to own it. Your tone is your signature. It's what people remember when you're not in the room. The problem isn't that women are too emotional. It's that we're not guiding our emotion, and therefore it has been mislabeled as weakness. But emotion, when guided by clarity, becomes influence, power, and passion. Because it's an unstoppable energy that is ready to accomplish anything. Confidence isn't loud, it's certain. And when you know what you're talking about, when you stay steady under pressure, people listen. Take a moment to think about this. Where do you soften your words to avoid confrontation? Where do you rise your tone just to be heard? Where do you over-explain to seem agreeable? Those are the moments you hand away your authority, one word at a time. When you recognize those patterns, you can start replacing them with clarity, precision, and confidence. Women have an incredible advantage in leadership: authenticity. We don't need to fake authority to lead. We just need to align how we communicate with who we are when we say, let's solve this together. And you mean it. They'll follow. When you say that's not acceptable and you stay calm, they're going to respect it. Confidence is not volume, it's certainty. Communication isn't control, it's connection. The way you speak shapes how others listen. Every time you speak with certainty and integrity, you raise the standard for what leadership sounds like in construction. You're not just managing projects, you're building culture where women are welcomed into the construction industry. Every time you speak in a room that wasn't built for your voice, you make space for the next woman who will stand there one day. That's what Leading Ladies is about. Not changing who we are to fit the industry, but helping the industry rise to meet who we've become. Leading Ladies, power through legacy, leadership through awareness.